So anybody that's followed me for any length of time knows that I have a fascination with the Macleod clan of Scotland. And part of it is because of Donald Trump, obviously, but also because their clan is rather unique. But all the Highlander clans are. It's disturbing, though, the pussy Scotland people that are Macleods here in America. Like, that get on, I've seen them do YouTubes where they go to Scotland to look into their family, and they're a Macleod, and they're like, yeah, but Donald Trump is part of our clan. And I think, then how can you be filled with the blood of a Highlander? Donald Trump is the epitome of a Scotland Highlander without the kilt. He might as well be wearing the kilt, because that's what you guys are known for. So when I see you hoity-toity, overeducated, I think that's what happened, forgetting your roots of the toughness and the fighting spirit of the Macleod clan, all the clans, but Macleod's most particularly that I'm talking about. And I see you hoity-toity, oh, Donald Trump's in our, it's like, oh, you're a pussy Macleod then. Sorry, that's all I can think, because you come from a lineage that are fighters. That's exactly what Donald Trump is. It was the Scotland Highlanders that helped us win the war. I mean, they're battalions. And so when I see you hoity-toity, overeducated people put your YouTube videos up and say, oh, Donald Trump's part of the Macleod clan, so I'm so glad to be a Macleod, but wish he wasn't part of it. It's like, no, maybe you shouldn't be part of it, because he's the epitome of what Scotland clans were about, fighting for family, fighting for country. So just wanted to add that, because that's what the Highland clans are known for. But the Macleod clan has a fairy flag. So before people jump to, oh, it's a cult, it's an occult. No. You have to look at the fact that the Macleod, or the Scotland clans, they go back before Christ. They go far, far back. So don't just assume that it's an occult thing, because I don't think it necessarily is. It was a different time, and you have to just, before jumping into that. But there's 3 different interesting stories surrounding this flag. But I wanted to just show a little bit more about this, because it appears that there's one more wish that can be wished upon this flag. The second time the fairy flag was used was when a plague was killing off the clan's cattle, and the Macleods were dying of starvation. When the flag was used, the cattle was said to have come back to life. The flag was almost used for the 3rd time during the Second World War, as the clan's chief, Dame Flora Macleod, offered to wave the flag from the cliffs of Dover should the Germans attempt to invade Great Britain. But fortunately, Clan Macleod did not need to call upon the magic of the flag, and so, according to legend, the Macleods can call upon the legendary flag one last time. And this is Dame Flora Macleod. This was 1927, I believe it says, of the Dunvegan Castle, a castle belonging to the Macleods. That's her. So, and they also have a horn and a Dunvegan cup. And that's it. You see the they said the flag's rather, beaten up. But you see the horn? Like the horn that's talked about in the Bible. The trumpet. And then the cup. But the flag has one more use yet. And they thought they'd have to use it. But they didn't use it. Just interesting. And this isn't some made-up story. This is all their history. The fairy flag of Dunvegan Castle, Isle of Skye, Scotland. Inside a Scottish castle hangs the tattered remains of a flag with murky origins and supposed magic powers. And given, I would believe it does have magic or definitely protective powers because of how successful the Macleod clan has been. In battles, and not always. There's some, throughout their history that, but for the most part, they're one of the most really powerful clans. Not that they don't all see each other as, their brothers and sisters. I think. I mean, they really have they really have hate at the McDonald's. That's who burned a bunch of their people down. And I believe, I haven't done a video about this yet, but there was some trafficking of the Macleod people. But I'm going to do a different video about that. It's called People of the Ship or something. But I just wanted to bring this up because I had just read this, how I knew about this fairy flag. I didn't know that it had one last wish that can be called upon it. Interesting. And something else interesting is some new archaeology. Well, back in 2016, the effigy on the floor in the center may mark the location of the burials of several Macleod chiefs and one flag bearer. Doesn't that look like Game of Thrones? So, and then when you look at it from the Donald Trump angle, I mean, his lineage goes back to the Vikings, to Norway, to all those different royalties. And then, of course, Scotland. And Scotland is a lot of our fighting spirit came from the Scots because they helped us win the war, during the Revolution. I mean, that's what you'll read, is that Americans got their fighting spirit from a lot of the Scots because of their history of going to battle all the time. I think sometimes back, thousands of years ago, they just like to go to battle. I mean, not the McDonald, but they were deadly battles, so I shouldn't say that. There was usually a good reason. But it seems that the clans would always come together when it came to protecting their land. However, when nothing else was going on, they had rivalries. And the Macleods and the McDonald's, like McDonald's here, McDonald's, the fast food restaurant, I just wonder, because, Donald Trump highlights them all the time. I don't know if he's doing that to promote them or if it's, I don't know, who knows. Or if it still goes back to some rivalry after all these years. I doubt it. I think most of them get along now, but who knows. But the Macleods have been especially successful, which is why, but they're sort of hidden. They're not very out there. They sort of seem to be silent partners in many, not silent partners, but silent owners of things. I don't mean to, it just seems to be that's the way it is. And I'll say that brings me comfort in many ways, because they definitely do not, the Scotland clans seem like the kinds of people that would hate globalism. It just seems like, no, they would hate that shit, because they were all about not being controlled by people. So, who knows, maybe if we're lucky, although maybe they will decide to raise the flag one last time for help, and God will descend upon us and save America. But, that's for their land, not America. But there's many Scots that live here, so you never know. Just an interesting history. The Macleod history is one that could fill history book after history book after history book. They're a tough group.